Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ted, and thank you to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation for inviting me here today. So today we're answering some of the biggest social media questions for actors. Many of you submitted your questions ahead of time. We're going to start with those, and then we'll take live questions at the end with whatever time we have left over. So today we've got a lot of questions that came in ahead of time and we organized them. We're going to start with first impressions and profile questions. Then we're going to move on to posting, self-promotion, and content strategy. Then we'll segue into questions about growth, frequency, and discoverability. And we'll move on to one of my favorite topics that we received a lot of questions about, social networking best practices. And then we'll wrap it up with any questions that came in about mental peace online and really protecting your mental peace. Okay. And then with whatever time we have left over, we will open it up to live Q&A. Let me know what part you're most excited about in the chat, and we will dive on in to our first question. So first question that came in is, what should a good Instagram bio include? And should we have SAG-AFTRA listed on our bio? And this is such a great question because your social media bios play a pivotal role in your social media success. It's really your number one job to get folks to follow you is your Instagram bio. So I'm going to give you some tips today to make the most of yours, and you will need a pen and paper for this Q&A, I promise, okay? We got some really great questions. So first, in your bio, and they specifically said Instagram bio, so for this question, we're going to focus on that. Make sure you're including some sort of keywords that attract like-hearted people and those people that can hire you. So keywords are pretty simple. Think actor, voice actor, audiobook narrator. So we key into how you fit into the business. And human and storyteller are not really specific keywords that help us, okay? In addition to keywords, try to include some sort of value or interest outside of acting. Maybe you're passionate about animals or the environment, history, horror films. This can be a fun fact about you that you put in your bio. And it's even better if this is something you actually share on social media. And we'll be talking a lot about posting very soon. Now, this is going to help you. This little value or interest is going to help you connect with people on a human level, not just with acting. Okay. Next, another thing you can include in this Instagram bio is a connection or accomplishment. Choose your own adventure here. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody that is here. If you've been nominated or you've won an industry related award like a Jeff Award, an Audie, a Sundance, hey, a Tony, choose your own adventure, include them in your bio. And going right back to the question, being SAG-AFTRA is an accomplishment. So if you're a proud SAG-AFTRA member and you want to celebrate that in your bio, go for it. Okay. Now, I know this is an 18 plus crowd, but if you are a parent of a child actor who's under the age of 13, please say account managed by mom or dad, account managed by parent in your bio. Instagram is kind of actively shutting down accounts that are under the age of 13 because that is just how the platform's set up, right? You're supposed to be over the age of 13. So make sure it does say managed by parent. All right. Let's keep on moving down these questions. What has Heidi seen for voice actors that works well in terms of profile photo and the bio section on Instagram? Now, we just talked about the bio section on Instagram. That also works for voice actors. So check that off the list for this question. But let's zoom in on profile photo. And I also want to give you a bonus tip for your name on Instagram, not your username, but your name, okay? So for your profile photo, I always say use a headshot, and that means a photo of your head. Okay. I know sometimes voice actors, depending on how you fit into the voiceover world, you might not have a professional headshot. Just make sure it is cropped close to your face. I know I'm probably very small right now because I have slides, but this is the end of my pen, or think of an end of a pencil eraser. That is how small our profile photo is online. When you crop it close to your face, we can see your eyes, right? Your profile photo is where we have all our conversations online. That's really important. Now, when I work specifically with voice actors and narrators, and that's what this question came from, was voice actors, I get the question, do I have to show my face? And my answer is usually yes. Show your face in your profile photo. Social media is social, and that photo shows up every time you direct message, every time you comment, every time you post, and that makes you human and relatable. Okay? If you're doing voiceover under your name and not just under a business name, let's put a face to that name. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a glam headshot. Like I said, you could shoot it in your booth with headphones in front of a microphone. That still says you and shows us what you do. Now, one more important piece, whether you're a voice actor or any type of actor, is pick one photo and use it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, no matter where you play. Your profile photo is like your logo. So think McDonald's, Golden Arches, whether you're in California or Japan, the menu's a little different, but those Golden Arches, that logo is the same. Same thing for that profile photo. It makes you instantly recognizable. If you're using multiple shots, different places, we just don't know it's you. Okay. Don't make it hard for me to know it's you. Okay. And let me give you that little bonus tip for your name. So on your Instagram account, because that's what they asked about, at the very top, you have your username. So your username has that little @ symbol. You use it for all your communication. But then we also have a spot to add your name. So you can see she has her name and voice actor. Did you know that if you add a little keyword to this name, it can help you come up in search for that keyword on Instagram? So, especially if you're a voice actor, audiobook narrator, these are very specific keywords that tell us what you do, will help you come up in search, and help the Instagram algorithm really know what you do and who to show your content to, which is really pretty cool. And let me know in the chat. I can see the chat. I know all of you can't. If you have a keyword on your name, and we will keep on going. Now, today is a big mix of 101 and more advanced questions. Okay, so obviously choose your own adventure based on where you're at. And this next question, although it seems 101, it actually applies to everyone. Okay, so for someone that has never had a social media account and wants to start one, how should we start and what should we focus on? First of all, start small. Pick one platform, learn how to use that one so you don't get burnt out trying to be everywhere. So important. Now, where you play depends on your goals, and I don't have names for any of these questions, so I don't know this person's goals, but I'll be honest. Right now, Instagram is one of the best places to be as an actor for most people that I work with because you can create content using Reels, Instagram Reels. It's one of the best platforms for networking since so many industry people are on the platform. And when it comes to sharing your projects, most projects use Instagram for marketing. So it kind of checks all the boxes. All right. Now, whether this person's going to start off using Instagram or for everybody else, when you start to use a new social network, break it down. A lot of times you hop in, you try to master it all at once. Break down each individual feature. Learn one at a time. It's how we learn anything. But for some reason, when you hop on social, we skip this step and we get really frustrated. I mean, in some ways, I feel very lucky that I've been on Instagram a very long time because when I got on Instagram, and this might be for the same for some people here, it was just the feed years ago. And it was mainly photos. The feed was square. There was no stories. But then stories came around and I was able to learn that. And then I was able to learn how to go live. I was able to then learn IGTV, which is now no longer, rest in peace, IGTV. And then I was able to learn Reels. So I was able to learn the platform over time naturally. But if you're approaching Instagram right now in 2025, keep in mind it can be very overwhelming if you just dive in all at once to every feature. So for this person or anybody that wants to learn Instagram, set up your profile, number one. You can do that with some of the tips we're going to cover today. And then first, learn to navigate the feed, your grid. Learn just the basic posting, basic single post, carousel post, then move on to Reels, and then move on to stories. Okay. Now I know when you're just getting started on a platform, or just all the time because we have a ton of questions about posting, that what to post can be very difficult. And just as like a free resource for you all, I always have 30 free post ideas in my Instagram bio at all times. So you can go grab those, start posting if you're brand new to Instagram, or it's going to help you get unstuck. Okay. So those are always sitting in my Instagram bio just to make sure no actors are left behind with what to post. And I'm marketing for actors with the number 4. All right. Next question is a juicy, juicy hot topic. Do casting directors consider the number of followers an actor has as a factor in casting? And I included this here in the beginning because, yes, your numbers are part of your first impression. So we're going to address this hot topic right away. Just get it, get it out of the way. And I feel like every time we talk about social media for actors, the conversation gets stuck on followers and follower counts. And one reason is at least once a year, there's some viral headline about an actor losing a job because they had fewer followers than someone else. And then everybody's panicking again. This just happened over the summer with a celebrity. It happens every year. But here's the truth. Yes, follower numbers can sometimes be a tipping point between two equally talented actors. And we're talking extreme high follower numbers, by the way. This is a business. It's always been about putting butts in the seats. We just have different metrics now with social media, okay? But that's not the main reason social media matters. And followers is not growing a following isn't the number one reason I recommend that actors use it. Now, I was recently on the SAG-AFTRA podcast with Duncan Crabtree Ireland. We had a lot of fun, and we actually started with this very topic. So if you caught that episode, this might sound a little bit familiar, but it's worth repeating. And mainly because for most actors, social media is far more important in 4 other big ways than followers. Okay? First of all, it's part of your first impression. That's why we're starting with first impression questions today. We're in a digital age, and this is a business of relationships and referrals. People are looking you up, and your social media profiles show up in Google search results. And very big, starting in July, your Instagram posts can even be indexed on Google. That's just a fancy way to say that your Instagram posts actually show up in Google search, which is really pretty cool if you're making a good first impression. And it's not just posts after July. You can see this is one of my posts from April 10th. So they're indexing past posts as well. So obviously your social media and your posts are even more part of your first impression. Now, it's also might be part of your job, social media. We have posting guidelines in contracts from what and when you can post, maybe posting requirements sometimes. We have collaborative posts, which if you don't know what that is, we can talk more about them in the Q&A. We're seeing networks, we're seeing theaters collaborate with actors. What that means is they might make a cast announcement and then that post goes to the actor's account and then the network or the show's account. It's a great way to tap into both audiences. It's a great feature to use. I'm happy to answer questions about it later on. Live Q&As are very standard. Instagram takeovers. For many projects, it's just kind of built into the world, built into the work, okay? And it can help you get in front of more people, which is pretty exciting. Relationship building. That's one of the most important reasons to use social media. This is big for me. I think it's one of the best tools we have to strengthen our existing industry connections and to build new ones right in your yoga pants at home. It's pretty awesome. And it's really this thing here that I've seen directly impact actors' careers again and again when it comes to social media having an impact. And don't worry, we have a number of questions on this topic when we talk about networking a little later on. And lastly, another reason I think social media is so important is it gives you power. Social media gives you a virtual stage where you don't have to wait for permission anymore. And every single day I see actors acting, creating, writing, directing, producing, and connecting with people, all because they chose to show up online. And I think that's a really powerful thing and a powerful tool that all of you have at your disposal. All right. And actually, I'm not going to answer a lot of questions as we go, but this is directly related to the indexing of Google posts. So I will. Um, are the indexing deleted or archived posts? No. If you delete something, it's gone. If you archive it, no one can see it. Okay. And if you have a private account too, obviously it's not going to show up in a Google search. All right. So don't worry about that. Okay. Let's keep on going. But like I said, sometimes follower counts matter. But for most actors, the things that are actually going to move your career forward on social media are the first impressions you make, the relationships you build, and the opportunities that you create for yourself. Okay? So don't focus on followers as much, even though I will give you some tips in a little bit to grow them. All right, so we had a few questions. We're still in the profile kind of setting section. We had a few questions about should you have a personal or creator account on Instagram? How do I switch without losing followers? So we've kind of combined them right here. And what most people don't even realize is that there are actually three types of Instagram accounts. We've got personal accounts, we have business accounts, and we have creator accounts. Let me know if you know which one you have in the chat. And there's a lot of confusion and outdated advice kind of floating around which one is best, especially for actors. Okay. So let me give you the short version here. Okay. The difference and which one I suggest for most actors. So the personal account is great for your grandma. It's great for your Aunt Susan. It's great for regular people. It's not great for public figures. And you're all public figures. You're an actor. Okay. The personal account doesn't give you analytics, scheduling tools, any like contact options on your profile. So it can feel really limiting if you're using Instagram to build your brand as an actor. And it also doesn't include some of the new features we're going to talk about, like trial reels, which can really help you grow. Okay. Now, a business account offers you analytics about your post and like when your followers are on. It gives you those contact buttons. It gives you scheduling tools, but you're going to lose access with a business account to a lot of trending audios in Reels, in Instagram Reels, because of licensing restrictions. And this doesn't sound like a big deal until you start posting about your projects. And here's a great example. My husband was just on Law and Order SVU. He has a recurring public defender role on that show. And so he posted about the last time he was on the show, some behind the scenes, some stills, and he was actually able to go into the audio library and put the theme to Law and Order on his post, tapping into an audience on Instagram that may have also heard that audio, may follow Law and Order pages. It's really a great thing when you can add music that ties into your post. If he had a business account, he wouldn't be able to use that music. Okay. If he has a creator account, he can. And that's why for most actors, a creator account is a sweet spot. It gives you all the insights, the music library, the messaging tools. You can write a little label that says actor on your account or voice actor. And it's great for public figures and creators like everyone here. Okay. And you won't lose followers at all. That's the best thing. I don't want to lose my followers. It's super simple. You just go into your settings. You don't lose followers. You don't lose exposure in the feed. Okay. And you keep all your followers in your content. You just kind of unlock some new snazzy tools to help you use your account with purpose. And if you don't know how to switch your account, that is a great question for Q&A. And Ted, if you see that question, let's make sure we do address that if we have time at the end. All right. Okay. Well, we quickly did the first impressions and profile questions. Let's move on to posting self-promotion, which I know a lot of you are afraid of, and content strategy. Next question. What types of things can I post when I don't have news to report? Maybe it's been a little while since you booked something. Maybe you took a break. Maybe you're returning to the business. I get this question, so many variations of this question. But it's important to know that actors, they don't work all the time. So, being between gigs doesn't mean you have nothing to post. Your account is about bookings, but it's also about your journey as an actor. Really important. I want you to hear that. Your account is about bookings, but it's also about your journey. So if you don't have news to share right now, that's okay. Let me give you some things to think of. Think about, what do you do every day to become a better actor? What are you doing? What classes are you taking? Hey, this is actually content. You can actually post that you're learning how to use social media, right? The classes you're taking, or maybe another SAG-AFTRA Foundation class that you're taking. What did you learn today during your self-tape session or your acting class? Special skills, martial arts. Do you sing? Do you do accents? This is all content that doesn't necessarily have to revolve around a project or a booking. What books are you reading? Right? What acting books are you reading? Or maybe it's a biography of a favorite actor. That's all content. Performances that inspire you, also great. So it could be film and television performance you just saw. Maybe you just saw a live musical or play that really inspired you. Maybe it's a past performance that inspired you to become an actor or make a big career transition and become an actor. All of this is content and parts of your story that you can share. And there's really so much. I could keep on going and going and going, but we're going to be talking about posting for a little while now. So I think you'll get more ideas with some of the other answers. But if you can take anything away from this question, it's that you're so much more than the projects you book. And being an actor is as much about the journey as it is the bookings. So please make sure that you share them both. Okay? All right. I see somebody who says, yay, I already have a creator account. Great. You are on it. Okay. So hashtags. We got a number of questions about hashtags. Like, how do I know which hashtags are best? And a lot of the questions were about Instagram. Do hashtags even work anymore? Should I mix up hashtags every time? So I'm going to just address hashtags right now because they have changed a lot, especially on Instagram. So let's just kind of quickly demystify how hashtags are working. I'm going to put a date on this just because I know this is going on YouTube later, October 2025, because things might be different if you're watching this in the future. 10 years ago on Instagram, you used to be able to be really like specific about your hashtags and grow in your sleep. I know because it happened. I would get lots of followers by being really strategic with hashtags. That was like 10 years ago. And they're really not the growth tool they used to be anymore. And even Instagram recently confirmed what a lot of us already noticed, that hashtags don't really push your content into new feeds like they used to. We used to be able to follow hashtags. We can't do that anymore. What matters now, even more than hashtags, are keywords. Okay, write this down. Write it really big on your paper. Keywords, the exact words or phrases that your audience is actually typing into Instagram or even typing into TikTok's search bar. Think of them like Google search terms. Instagram and TikTok are becoming more like Google search. Okay. So for actors, let's just talk about some examples of keywords. Self-tape tips, funny audition story, New York City actor life. Those are all keywords. They're actually long tail keywords, so more than one word. And they really help the platform understand who to show your content to. So instead of just like adding, to your captions, 30 hashtags, half of them being completely random, weave your keywords naturally into what you say in your videos. You can have it be your on-screen text if you're using Instagram Reels. It could be in your captions. Weave the keywords in naturally. I'll give you another example off the top of my head. So instead of posting, instead of making a post and then putting a bunch of hashtags, hashtag self-tape, hashtag audition tips, hashtag actor's life, why not make a video that says day in the life of a New York City actor, audition edition, and putting that same text on the screen, day in the life of an actor, audition edition. You're still hitting the keywords, New York City actor and audition, but in a natural, searchable way. And if you want to include a few hashtags, I see Rose, should we drop them all together? Well, just to confuse you, hashtags are keywords. So if you want to include a few, the head of Instagram said like 3 to 5, keep them really, really small for the amount you're going to use, but use them strategically. Okay, use them very specific and relevant to that post. Don't just be cutting and pasting the same hashtags on everything. That's not going to be relevant to that post. If you use TikTok, you may have noticed they just limited our hashtag use to 5 hashtags for every post. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this move in the future with Instagram. Okay, be specific. Um, the bottom line is hashtags aren't dead, but keywords now drive discovery on Instagram and TikTok. And yes, Google, because remember our posts can show up there. So shift to this keyword first mindset over really focusing all your growth efforts on hashtags. Okay. Now, hashtags change all the time. You know, Instagram changes all the time. So, one of the best places, not to toot my own horn, but one of the best places to kind of keep up with breaking news is my Instagram. And I'm marketing for actors, the number 4. I do breaking news posts all the time when we have a new feature, right? Instagram just changed the size of the grid. One of my recent posts is all about that and how to make your grid look good with the new changes. So it's a great place for you to, stay up to date with hashtags and everything that changes. All right, let's keep on going. I'm just going to take a sip of water. All right, and we're doing good with time, actually. This is good. Trying to keep it moving. All right, so a little bit more of an advanced question. How long should an Instagram reel be? And before I dive into this answer, I first want to define Instagram Reel because when they came out, yes, 5 years ago now, I can't believe it, in August 2020, and Instagram said they were going to be called Reels. I knew this was going to confuse the heck out of actors, thinking it's all about their acting reel, right? When I say Instagram Reel, I mean vertical content. Like I'm holding my phone vertical right now. I mean Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, the vertical video that we see so often in our feeds. So that's what we're talking about right now. And there's no shame if you've never used them or if you didn't know what I was talking about. You're going to learn right now. Okay. So here's the thing on Instagram and every place I just mentioned, TikTok, YouTube, any platform with video, it's not really about how long your video is. It's about watch time. Actually, watched percentage time. Write those words down. Watched percentage time. And really, it's a fancy phrase that just means like how much of your video do people actually watch before they scroll away? If someone watches 15 seconds of your 15-second video, that's 100% watch time. High five. Okay. My goal is always 100% watch time. Do I hit it? No, but it's always my goal. Now, if you get this 100% watch time, so 15 seconds of a 15-second video, Instagram thinks this video is awesome. People are loving it and they push it out to more people, especially Instagram Reels. They may show it to new followers, which helps you grow. But if someone only watches 20 seconds of your 60-second Instagram reel, that's about 33% watch time. And Instagram thinks, this isn't as great and it's not going to send it out to as many people. And that is why most viral videos are shorter, around 7 to 8 seconds. And that's the sweet spot because it's easier to keep people's attention for shorter periods of time. Okay. So yes, Instagram Reels can be up to 10 minutes, but if your goal is growth, which we'll be talking about very soon, aim to keep them tight. Okay, think of your Instagram Reels like the movie trailer, not the full length feature. Really hook us in the first second or two of your video. And we can talk about hooks and all that when we get to Q&A. So hook us right away. Cut out any dead space, trim out any dead space in your video and then keep it short and snackable, only as long as it needs to be. So there's no magic number for what an Instagram Reels should be, but you can start to hop into your Instagram Reels. Just hop into each one and look at your insights on it. And you can see where people drop off. We have audience retention graphs now, and it's very eye-opening, like, wow, okay, maybe I should have cut that section. Maybe I should have hooked people in the beginning. Maybe I should have added text to the screen. You'll really get a feel for how you should edit to keep people watching. Okay. And next time you create an Instagram reel, I want you to I want you to go into the editor and think about trimming and ask yourself, if I cut it, will they miss it? If I cut it, will they miss it? There's so many times I think, oh, I got to keep this part in. And when I ask myself that question, I go, I can take this out. I can trim this section. I can trim this section. And I'm finding myself cutting an extra 15 seconds, 20 seconds, increasing my watch time. Okay. All right. So you just have to ask yourself, Pilar, if I cut it, will they miss it? There is no magic time. Once you get better at creating videos, I can get people to watch a 1 minute video, but I've been creating video content starting on YouTube for a very long time. Okay. If you're new, do not start with a minute. Make sure you start small and then improve your editing and your watch time. Okay. All right. Let's keep going with posting and we're going to keep going with video. Okay. A lot of video questions. And this one I love actually. Is it good to film yourself doing monologues and putting them on your Instagram or YouTube? And I love it because I actually have had a change of heart with my answer for this. I used to say no. And the only reason I used to say no is because every time I'd see an actor do it, post a monologue on Instagram, on TikTok, and it still does happen, I feel like they're posting them like they were for acting class. They're posting them not vertical, right? They're posting them this way, which is not correct. They're long, they're unedited. They've given no thought to audience, platform. You're on social media. People aren't going to watch a 3 minute monologue, especially if it's not vertical. They've given no thought to engagement. Okay. And they weren't getting seen and they just weren't working. So that's why I always used to say, there's better post ideas. But then I saw Chris Tester's account and he does monologues in front of the mic and completely changed my mind. My husband even like loves his account now. And my husband's a, starred on Broadway, has Shakespeare background, and he's like obsessed with this account. It's so good. And he posts shorter monologues tailored to his voice and his casting sweet spots. They're clean, they're specific, they're engaging, and his watch time is high. Sometimes he doesn't start at the beginning of the monologue. Like there's no moment before. You don't need that for social. Sometimes he starts at the most heated part of the monologue. And of course, I see that on my feed and I have to scroll and see what is going on. Okay, another trick right there for watch time. And because his watch time is high, platforms are rewarding him with more visibility. He has even way more followers on TikTok. And when I say audience isn't important for everybody, for him it is. He's literally using it like a virtual stage, getting in front of so many people, getting more opportunities because of the way he's using it, okay, with intention. Let me give you a few tips if this is something you've wanted to do, or maybe you've been doing it, but you're kind of like, oh, maybe they've been too long. Maybe it's not right for social. Let me give you a few tips to help you make monologues work for you. And some of these tips will work for self-tapes too, obviously, only if you're able to share a past self-tape. Okay. So first, I've talked a little bit about it with the other questions. Hook us fast. You don't need that long moment before. This isn't an audition. This isn't a stage play, right? Get right to it. You should be talking the minute or moving or doing something the minute you pop on that screen. And it may mean you trim this monologue down. Keep it short if you can, especially when you're just starting. Try to aim for under 60 seconds for this type of content. If you can find like a tight 30, even better. Remember the concept of watch time, especially as you're getting used to this medium. Okay. Another tip, really important, is to add text on the screen so it's easy to follow. One thing he always does, he always puts the name of the monologue right at the top so we know it's what it's for, what it's from. A lot of times it's actually from film, so we can see right away what this is from. And add closed captioning right in the app. 75% of people actually still listen to Instagram with the sound off. And I know for me, sometimes I'm on the couch, my daughter's not too far away, and sometimes I can't turn the volume on because I don't know what people are going to say with her right there. She's only 11, right? So having those closed captions, give me a second to know what you're saying. And do I want to go in the other room and watch this? Do I want to hit save for later? And I can break that down in the Q&A as well, how you add these closed captions right in Reels. We have an amazing video editor there, right in the app that you can add closed captioning. It's pretty exciting. Now, I'll give you one more tip for how to make monologues work for you, because I know it's a question I get asked a lot and something you could start doing tomorrow. And try to film it more cinematically, like it's a scene. Um, it's going to probably do better if it's if it's filmed like a scene over a green screen, instead of a green screen, I mean, or that blue screen that you use for self-taping. If it takes place in a kitchen, shoot it in the kitchen, film in your kitchen, make it feel real. Okay. It doesn't have to be on the blue backdrop, on your green screen backdrop. Make it feel more relatable. Okay. So those are just a couple tips to help you if this is something you want to do with intention. I believe if it's done right, monologues can become part of your virtual stage and get you in front of more people. And they're a chance to show us who you are as an actor. That's really short, specific, and watchable. But you got to be mindful of watch time and hooking us. All right. All right, we have a few more about posting, and then we'll be moving on to growth and visibility, and then networking. Next one. Oh, this is a biggie. Self-promo. Can you share a few tips for posting about your work in a way that feels human and natural, or feels natural and human? I guess that's the order of the question. Yes, this is one of the number one things I get asked from actors. And I can hear actors say it all the time. Heidi, I hate promoting myself. It just feels gross. It feels cringy. And I get it. You're creatives. You love creating, you love acting, but nobody wants to feel like a walking billboard. So let me give you a few tips to make your promotion feel more natural. Um, the first tip I love really comes down to language and flip your language. So when you write your next caption on any platform, especially for something what feels like self-promotional, try to swap out your language from I, me, and my to you and we. I'll repeat that because I know that's a lot of words. Try to swap out I, me, and my for you and we. So instead of I'm so proud of my work, try I think you're gonna love this episode. Or maybe even we created something really special for you with this episode or with this project. That small change just transforms how your post lands. Like I just went when I said that. And it's just a language switch. Okay. Really start looking at your promo posts and seeing if you can make it. Another thing I love to teach is posting with gratitude. So instead of making the post all about you, which is how those booked it posts can feel, shine a light on somebody else. Okay, shine a light on somebody else. It could be a director, the crew, a cast member, or even the project itself. And it's as simple as saying, like, it was such an honor to work with, fill in the blank, or I still can't believe I got to learn from this person, right? And yes, we're actually saying I here, but the post isn't about me. The post is about the person we're posting about. We're literally transforming something from an all about me, to a we. Okay. It feels more authentic. And also, when you give somebody else a shout out by posting about a project with gratitude, it's a great way to reconnect and stay top of mind with the people you worked with. And they may even share it too, right? Now, the last way, which I think is one of the most effective ways to promote your projects, is to get creative. Um, think about your favorite commercials. They entertain you. They entertain you first, and then maybe you realize, oh my gosh, this is an ad. You can do the same with your post. You can use a trending audio. You can use humor, a creative spin. One of my clients promoted her one-person show with 5 places to visit before or after the performance, before after you come see the show. And it was such a great, entertaining, shareable way that drove people to her project and drove people to buying tickets to her one-person show. But it wasn't all about, hey, come see my show, come see my show. She had already done that. It was creative. Okay. Another example that actually a lot of my students have been using, you might have seen some of these online. Those are those audition to booked it post where you see a very short part of a self-tape, of course, that airs, that is already aired. Okay. I don't want anyone getting in trouble. A short part of a self-tape that's aired. And then right after it or right below it, we see the actual scene. It's really entertaining. It's great for your followers that are actors and are in the business, but also non-actors love these as well because you're kind of peeling back the curtain into your process. I see people with commercials sometimes being able to stack these and play them right at the same time, kind of muting the audition, but you can actually see how what they created in the self-tape audition actually ended up in the final cut. A lot of times that happens in commercials. Okay, so you can see these are creative ways to share a booking. They're all made, at least the one at the top I know is made with a free tool, one of my favorite tools in the world, canva.com. And they do have a free version and you can make these for free. And that's Canva, Canva. All right. And Canva is just such a great resource for so much of your marketing and social media. All right. And I'm happy, actually, I always have my Canva open for Q&As because people have questions and I love hopping in Canva. I've been on Canva for like 10 years. All right, we're going to keep on going with posting. Is there any content type, is there any type of content I should avoid posting? This is a big question and can be a heated question as well. But before you post about a project or anything, I like to run it through my quick 3-question filter. That is, does this respect my contracts or NDA if I signed one? Does it reveal any spoilers and does it reflect my best self? Okay, I think the first one is pretty self-explanatory. Let me explain the other two. So, does it reveal any spoilers? Seems self-explanatory, but if it's a picture or video, please look around everything around you because your costume, the person you're taking a picture with, maybe you haven't really been following the show and the person you're in the scene with, maybe he like disappeared the season before and now he's back. And you posting about this before it airs actually reveals a major plot piece. Okay. Your costume, what's around you can actually spoil projects. Also, be careful if you're posting from set. Always check that your locations are off. I've seen actors many times post from set thinking that they're teasing a project, giving no details, but then the location at the top tells us exactly the lot that they're filming on, and we know what film's there. So there you go. Spoiler alert. All right. And lastly, does it reflect my best self? When I say best self, I don't mean Instagram perfect self. I mean, would you feel good if your agent, manager, a casting director who cast your dream show saw it? If the answer is no or maybe, just delete or archive it. It's not worth it. Okay, it is not worth it. Now, my mom was a first grade teacher for over 30 years, and she used to say something to her students after the Pledge of Allegiance every day that I will never forget. I saw it at a very young age. And she would have them stand there because they were standing from the Pledge of Allegiance and say, what you put out comes back to you. And I think y'all can see me, I'm pretty little right now, but they use their hands. What you put out comes back to you. And she said it to her students, obviously, about kindness and work ethic, but it applies to your social media too. If you put negativity, gossip, or rants out on social media, that's what tends to come back your way, 100%. But if you post about what you're for, and your craft, your community, your creativity, you'll attract more of that energy and more of the right people. Okay. It's not woo, it just works that way. I get very little trolls on social media, but I have a very positive presence. I attract positive people. And when I do get a troll, my positive people are there, like in the chat, talking to them. I don't even have to deal with them. Okay. So post from a place of pride, post from a place of purpose, shine a light on what you love, not what you hate. Post about what you love and what you're for, not what you're against, especially if it's controversial subjects. Okay. And when in doubt, remember my mom's rule with her little first graders, what you put out comes back to you. All right. And if you read my book, then you know that story because it's in there. Family is very important to me. So I've got a couple quotes for my dad and my mom in the book. or I guess quotes of my mom and my dad. Okay, we're gonna just keep on moving. What kind of content should I capture when I've booked something? Oh, this is a big question, right? And obviously, I want you to follow all the rules that are on that set and in that contract. Okay, that's number one, and that's going to be a little bit different for everything. But what I want you to hear is next time you do a job, I know you got a lot to think about. You're learning the lines, you're learning where to go, you're in a new location, you got hair and makeup, you got all the things. But too many actors come to me and they want me to help them with their strategy to promote a project. And I ask them, well, what pictures and videos did you take on set? And they tell me, oh, I just totally forgot. I was too busy. I want you to remember everything is content. Everything is content. There's so much content when you do a project, whether it's on set, for theater, anything. Okay. So snap it while you can. If you're allowed to snap it, do it and save it for when you can share it. Okay. So let me give you some ideas that you can just keep in your back pocket. You can put them in your wallet for the next time you book something. The classic one, photos in hair and makeup. Usually they're very happy to shoot it for you. A selfie in your trailer, in your booth, in the dressing room. Sometimes you can't shoot on set, but you can shoot in your trailer. At least get that moment. Okay. Try to find a photo near a project name or your character name or your name. A photo or video in costume. Okay. Um, Presets, pre-show warm-up. If you're doing, obviously a show, it'd be a pre-show, preset on set. Red carpet, cast party, wrap party, all of that is part of content you can share. Everything is content. Even crafty, craft services, go for it, shoot it. It might be a post later on. Okay. And I'm just going to say it again because I don't want to get sued, and SAG-AFTRA Foundation doesn't want to get sued. Always follow the social media guidelines in your contracts, in your NDA, and on the set. If you can't take photos, don't. And if you're unsure, if you can't post something, just always ask for permission first. My dad used to say it's always, always better to be safe than sorry. Okay. I find myself quoting my dad to my 11-year-old now. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, so, but I want you to make sure you are taking some sort of content. Another great thing that actually I'm having a lot of my clients shoot because of Instagram Reels and TikTok is just B-roll. So B-roll thinking, you don't even have to be on camera. Maybe you're walking to set and you're just going to let the camera roll. You're going to shoot it vertically. And now maybe we see your feet and we see you walking to set, walking to the location. Okay. Even little moments like that, we can string them together for an Instagram reel later. We can't do it if you didn't take the picture in the first place or take that B-roll in the first place. Okay. All right. One more question posting, and then we are moving to growth, visibility, discovery. I think that is the official title that we came up with. So, should you post? Let me get this up. Come on, slides. There we go. Um, should you post on Instagram first and then YouTube? Is there an order for repurposing? And I love this question because this person, this actor is actually, it's one of you, is really thinking about strategy. Like, is there some sort of strategy for the order I should repurpose? So thank you for this because that's what social media is. It is strategy, right? Um, but I don't want you to necessarily think about like what platform should come first. Okay. Instead, like, should it be Instagram or should it be YouTube? Instead, I want you to decide what your home base platform is. And this is going to be different for everyone here. Your home based platform is the platform that feels most natural for you. It's the one you've decided to prioritize. For some actors, that's Instagram. It's visual, it's easy to connect. The industry is there. For others, it might be YouTube. Okay, especially if you're creating long form content or vlogs. So this person, I don't know your name, but what's your home base platform? It may even come down to something really simple, like what platform's editor do you know best? Like maybe you know the Reels editor on Instagram better than TikTok or better than YouTube Shorts. Go where the workflow feels easier for you and then just download it and repurpose. For me, it's Instagram. I know the Reels editor. I know every single button and how it works there. Okay. I know TikTok too, but Instagram, I just really like the editor better. Okay. Now, once you have your home base, once you've identified that and actually put in the chat what you think your home base is, that's where you'll focus first. Create your content there and then repurpose. Okay. And that's the beauty if you're making short form content. Like Instagram Reels, like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, they're all kind of built for the same type of vertical content. So it's really easy to create one place and share elsewhere. All right. So your new question is, what's your home base? All right. If it's Instagram, I saw Instagram right there. So Crystal, if it's Instagram, start with Reels and then repurpose if you're on Shorts or TikTok. If it's YouTube, start with Shorts, right? And or long form, and then clip and repackage them for Instagram and TikTok. Okay. So a little bit different for everybody here. Okay. Pick a home base, create there first, and then let the other platforms amplify your posts and your work. Okay. All right. So let's keep on going. I told you we had a lot of posting questions, and that wasn't even all of them. That was just some of them. All right. I'm going to have, whenever I do a live, I usually have a little go-go squeeze. I should be sponsored by go-go squeeze. Just to keep my energy up. All right. There you go. Don't like to eat in front of people, but I want to keep it moving, keep the energy up. We're going to be now talking about growth, frequency, and discoverability. And, let's just take a brain break for 1 second and let me know in the chat something that you've learned so far, something you were surprised about, something you're going to try out. Maybe you didn't realize how hashtags have changed. Maybe you're going to choose your home base. Maybe you're going to fix your bio. Let me know because we're covering a lot of questions today. And just give yourself a 2 second brain break. Okay, let me know in the chat. All right. And, some of the questions we just talked about in posting were actually about discoverability and will help you grow, like watch time, all of that. I kept them in the posting section because they were directly related to posting, but you'll notice this section's not as big because we already covered a lot of things that could actually help you, your account become more visible and more discoverable. All right. Awesome. I love this. The keywords information, you're going to do your bio. You love that a monologue doesn't have to start or end in a place. I love it. And you learned about a creator account. Awesome. Awesome. And I can help you, Susanna, when we get to Q&A. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of time. And I can tell you where you can do that. All right. Wonderful. Let's keep on moving. Okay. This is a big question, and the answer to it is crucial if you want to get more reach. Okay. The question is, what's the difference between stories, reels, and feed posts on Instagram? Big question. I want you to think of them like this. Your feed posts are your first impression. They live on your grid. They tell your story as an actor, and they help people decide whether or not to follow you. All about first impression. Your stories, on the other hand, so your Instagram stories, those things that, disappear after 24 hours, they help you stay connected to your existing followers. Think behind the scenes, day in the life updates. They keep relationships warm. But I want you to hear this right now. Instagram stories are not for growth. I know we're in the topic of growth and discoverability. I see a lot of actors say they want to grow an audience and they're posting mainly on stories. That is not helping you reach your goal. There's like one sticker on stories, the add this sticker, that can even kind of help you grow. Nobody knows how to use it. But stories are for your existing followers, not new followers. Now, Reels, on the other hand, so Instagram Reels, Reels reach your followers and new audiences. Okay, there's tons of places on the app where you can get discovered by new followers with Instagram Reels. They are your best tool for visibility and discovery. We hear this straight from the head of Instagram all the time. Okay, especially, and please pay attention to this, if you're using new features on Reels like trial Reels. So trial Reels, oops. We're actually going to talk about trial reels in a second. But trial reels is a new feature where our posts can get shown to new followers first. So our Instagram reels can get shown to new followers first without paying for ads, anything. It's really pretty cool. And I'll talk about it when we get to our next big question. Okay. But I want you to really think about this. A balanced strategy for an actor is going to use all three of these. Your feed for your first impression, stories for connection with your existing followers, and reels for visibility. Okay, you're going to want a little bit of each. Okay, but if you want to grow, stories is not where it's at. Okay, next question. You kind of just saw a preview when I advanced it too quickly. How do I increase my Instagram followers? I know this is important to some people. I mean, I'm a business, but if you would ask me 10 years ago that you were to tell me that I was going to have over 100,000 subscribers and followers across social, I would have laughed because as a business, I don't need all those followers, but I appreciate all of you. And it really has changed my life because I have a targeted, engaged community. So it can be helpful if you're doing it in a targeted way. Now, we could do an entire hour and a half just on this topic, but let me give you the short version of this. If you want to grow your Instagram followers right now, it comes down to one thing, okay? You need to get in front of more people. Okay, you need more reach. That's the magic word. You need more reach. So let me give you some ideas for how to do that. Okay, so Reels, number one, they're still the number one way to reach people who don't follow you yet. Okay, number two, collaborations. When you collaborate with another account, we talked about this earlier. This is happening with theaters, with networks, with projects. When you invite a collaborator to your reel, to your post, you instantly double your reach by showing up in someone else's feed too. So collaborations can be super important. And number three, share worthy content. Posts that make people say, oh, I got to send this to a friend. And I'm sure you have seen posts like that where you shared them to a friend, you shared them to your mom, you shared them with your husband or your partner. Share worthy content. If you can learn how to create content that people share, you will get more eyeballs and more reach on a regular basis. All right. And I'm not at home right now. I'm working in an office space and it sounds like somebody is running all over above me. I think it's a Pilates studio up there. So I hope you can't hear that. It's not me. I'm sitting, but that's where all the noise is. All right, so you're going to use Reels because you're going to get more reach through Reels. You're going to use collaborations, and I can dive into collaborations more too in the Q&A. Why are we using collaborations? Because you get more reach. You're going to create share-worthy content because that gets more reach, that gets more eyeballs. And you're going to start using the features that help you get more reach, like trial Reels. So if you are using Reels, before you post, and you're on that last page where you choose a cover photo and you add your caption and all the things, I want you to look for a toggle that says trial reels. Send this out as a trial reel. What this does is the trial reel goes out to new followers first. Like I said, no paying for ads. It's really, really cool. And all you have to do is turn that toggle on. And what Instagram's going to do is it's going to send it out to new people for about 24 hours. This is why that keywords in your caption are so important, or keywords on the screen, because Instagram has to know, what is this post about? Who should I give it to? And trial reels, I mean, we could talk about this for a while. I have a very recent blog. If you go to marketingforactors.com, that's the number 4, and just go to blog, you can see it across the top. One of my recent blogs is all about trial reels, how to turn them on, how to get them, how to use them. That's probably the best resource for you, not having me sit here and talk about trial reels for 20 minutes. Okay. Now you do need a creator or business account to tap into trial reels, but after today, you all know that a creator account is generally the best thing for actors. Okay. So if this is your question, how can I increase my Instagram followers? Really, you need to create content that gets reach. Okay. Content that gets shared, shown, and seen. Okay. The followers will come if you create content that gets shared, shown, and seen. All right. Okay. Is there a best time to post? All right, we had a couple of variations on that. And this is in discoverability, obviously, and frequency. Is there a universal best time to post on social media that applies to everyone? Nope. And if you ever see a blog that says there is, run, because that's not going to apply to most actors. Okay. It may apply to businesses. But here's a little secret. You're not going to find the answer to this question in a blog, in a YouTube video. Instead, the clues for posting for your audience is hidden in your insights, right in your account that you get if you have a creator or business account. Okay. Everyone's audience is different. All right. And your analytics or your insights, depending on what platform you're on, they're called a little bit something different everywhere. They really hold like a treasure trove, right, of insights about your followers. And that might be the days and times they're most active. It might be their age range, their location. We can even find out what posts your audience is actually loving right now. So guess what? You can make more of that. You can double down on that content, make more of it so you can grow faster and reach more people. All in your insights. All you have to do, if we're talking Instagram, it's hit those three lines on your settings and look for insights. Now, if you switch to a creator or business account today, your audience, your post insights all start the day that you switch. Okay, so you may have to post a little bit to get insights about your post. Now, some people, when they look at their insights, their audience insights are all the same. Like it doesn't make a difference for time or for date. Some people it does. Some people you go, oh, wow, more of my audience is on the weekends or during the week. And it may dictate when you might want to post. Also, really look at as you grow your career, you got to think about it. You're not like the smoothie shop downtown LA, right? Where most of their audience online is going to be in that vicinity. As you grow your career, your audience is going to be all over the place. So one of the metrics you should really pay attention to in your insights is your location. Where actually your audience's location. I should fix that. Their location. I found out a few years ago, yes, I've got a big audience in LA. I have a big audience in New York, Atlanta, Chicago. That makes sense for where a lot of actors are located. But I also found out a couple years ago that actually it's LA and New York like a tie, and London is actually number three for me because there's a lot of people that have been talking about me, I guess, in London. And I just did a workshop for Spotlight UK out there. So I even have more an audience out there. So go in and look at your location because actually you might find out that you might have a big audience in London. That's going to skew when I'm going to post a little bit more than me not knowing that in the first place. All right. All right. I think we got one more in this section and then we're moving on to networking. Oh my gosh, they're having a dance party above me. I kind of want to go. Someone let me know if you can even hear that. It's like they're running around. All right, so how can I encourage fan excitement, engagement and interaction on platforms like X, Blue Sky, Instagram, etc. So kind of everywhere, right? Visual and kind of words platforms, chat-based platforms. If you want more engagement, you can't just post and hope people will comment. You have to invite people to take action, at least sometimes. Think of your post as a start of the conversation instead of the end of one. And that's where something called a call to action, or in the marketing world where I'm at, CTAs. That's how we abbreviate them. Calls to action is simply you in your caption, maybe you in your video, prompting your audience to take the next step. So, and the next step doesn't have to be huge. It could be to share it with a friend. Remember, share worthy content. So instead of just posting, so excited for my show tonight, who else has seen this play? Right? Who else loves fill in the blank, a blank for the playwright? Ask a question. Now, one of the easiest ways to add a call to action to your post is next time you create a caption, and I want you to read it and see if it's all statements. Take one statement in your post and flip it and turn it into a question. You'll instantly have a conversational call to action that's going to get people to comment. Okay. When your audience is small, it may take a little while to get the comments going, but you're training yourself for writing captions. You're training your audience to actually have conversations. All right. These little invitations turn a static post into a dialogue. They turn your monologue into a scene. Okay. And really the algorithms love it too on all platforms because comments, saves, shares, They tell them that this post is, worth sharing to other people. Okay. Um, Action step for everybody here. Okay. On your next post, don't hit publish until you've added a clear call to action. Even a simple, like, what do you think? What did you do? In their caption will spark more engagement than posting none. I've actually been doing some tests on this, going into my insights, and I just went into my insights about a month ago, and I sifted by shares. I was really curious to see which ones of my posts are getting the most shares, and the ones that are getting shared like crazy. If I clicked into the caption, every single one of them, 100% of them, I had a call to action to share it with somebody. And then when I went into my insights to see which ones have the most comments, guess what? My call to action in there is to comment. We have to sometimes tell people to take action, or we're in a super scrollable world. They won't. All right. I love it that you can't hear anything. That makes me feel so good because they are so loud. Thank you, microphone. I'm going to keep hugging the microphone here. All right. Okay, you got to make it work when you're traveling and you're not at home, right? All right, so we have covered so much. We're going to move on to social networking best practices, and we just have a few protecting your mental peace online, and then hopefully we can squeeze in a couple questions at the end. I am always happy to answer questions on my Instagram as well, so that is another option as well. So we did receive a lot of networking questions, a lot, okay? So in interest of time, I'm going to answer this one, and then I'm going to kind of go through some big networking mistakes I see online and quickly fix them so that we can get through as many of these as possible. I'm so glad we organized these ahead of time. Okay, so this question is getting someone's email and or phone number enough to network, or does one also need some sort of social media? Why would I need Instagram then? This is a big one, but an email and phone number are very different than networking on Instagram. I think a lot of actors think networking only happens in person, at industry events, in class, or on set. But honestly, social media is like the best networking tool you have. It's free. It doesn't rely on whether you book something or you have paid for an acting class. And you can do it in your yoga pants, sitting on your couch with a cup of coffee. Pretty cool, right? Um, First of all, social media helps you stay top of mind with people who already know you in the business, in between gigs, in between auditions, in between phone calls, and in between emails. Once you get their phone number and email, you may have an interaction, but you can't keep calling them. You can't keep emailing them. That could be really invasive, right? So that's where social media comes in. And I really want you all to hear this. Your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. And the better you strengthen this network, the more opportunities you are going to have as an actor. Now, the type of networking that you can do between the emails, between the phone calls, between the auditions is what I call my virtual coffee dates. And I always have coffee when I teach workshops, but I'm in New York right now and it's too late for coffee. So, but I want you to think of this networking as virtual coffee dates, small touch points, following and commenting on that director's post after you work together, cheering on that musical director from your last show when they open a new show, really just staying top of mind, staying in touch, staying in the conversation in a human way on social media. It's going to keep you staying top of mind. Okay. You don't have to wait for an email or a phone number. You have the power. All right. Um, and I'm going to keep going. I was going to tell a story, but I think I told the same story on the SAG-AFTRA podcast about one of my students who booked a commercial through their virtual coffee dates. So you can go tune into that podcast episode and hear that story, and we can keep on going. So think beyond the phone number, think beyond the email. That's what social media can help you do. Stay top of mind. Now, like I said, we received a bunch of networking questions, and I've been doing this a very long time, and I actually got my start years ago in social media management, running accounts for actors, producers, and casting directors. And after seeing it from every angle, I can tell you that actors tend to make the same networking mistakes over and over again on social. So I want to quickly just walk through what those are, and they kind of will answer most of the questions we got on this topic. Okay, so let's just start with the first one, not being specific about who you want to meet when it comes to your networking. Specificity is everything. Following a casting director just because it says casting director in their bio will not move your career forward. They might cast in Chicago and you're in LA. They cast musicals and you don't sing. That's busy work. That's not career building work. You don't need to meet 1,000 new people. You just need to meet the right people. So get more specific with your online networking. What projects do you want to be a part of? Who casts, who directs, who produces these, and who tells the stories that you want to tell? Let's find them online. Okay? Let's find them. Okay? And build relationships with them, especially on platforms like Instagram. That's a really great place to do that. Now, the second mistake I see is only focusing on the quote Spielbergs. Don't just aim for the biggest names. Most often, they're not even running their social media. Don't forget the associates, the assistants, the up and coming writers and directors. They're often more accessible than the quote Spielbergs, okay? And can still affect your career. The third mistake is not being organized. Relationships aren't built in a day, they're built daily. And you need a simple system to stay consistent and make sure that you actually see people in your feed. And then lastly, which came right out of a question that came in, is coming from a place of desperation versus collaboration with your online networking. You need to come from a place of collaboration. Instead of approaching your online networking like, how do I get them to notice me? I want you to think this is a peer. How do we build together? That is so much stronger. It comes from this place of collaboration over this place of desperation. Okay, so important. All right. We are going to touch upon two things very, very quickly. And then I think we are going to wrap it up and answer a few questions. So this one, I actually need a little bit more info, but I'm going to give you a few settings that will help. I'm wondering how to stop people from commenting on the post if necessary. I'm guessing you're getting some sort of trolls, people that you don't want in your comments. So I'm going to go with that. So for per post, and on many different platforms, we can either turn off commenting. So maybe something went viral and we've got people we don't want there. We can turn off commenting. That is one option. You can also limit on many platforms comments to followers or subscribers. Does it always limit trolls? Well, they can still follow you, but they have to follow you. So it does add an extra step. Okay, so those are two easy settings to think about. And then one of my favorite settings is called hidden words. And if you go to my Instagram and go to my go to my Reels tab, I actually have a post pinned at the top that shows you how to set up your hidden words. And what it does is Instagram allows you to block out certain words, emojis, or phrases in your comments, in your messages that you don't want to see. As we start sharing our story online, that also invites people who don't like parts of our story, and they might use derogatory terms, right? So, let's make sure that we have that in our settings so you don't see them, so it doesn't affect your mental peace. Okay, so I need a little bit more information for this one, but hopefully those three settings between turning off commenting, limiting your comments to followers and subscribers, and hidden words will help. All right. And we're going to end with this one. We're ending with a downer, right? We're going to end with this and then we're going to take questions. My Facebook was stolen and I can't retrieve it. Oh, I'm feeling for this person. I'm sending you so much love. Is there a contact number or email for support? Okay. Well, I'm feeling for you because sadly, a lot of times when we get hacked, we don't get our account back. Please, please, please go in. If you get your account back and in all your other social networks, turn on something called two-factor authentication. Everybody, and I'm not going to break it down because I want to get to Q&A. Two-factor authentication gives you two ways that secure your account so it's harder for a hacker to get in. Okay, very important. You all should have it set up. It's free right in your settings, two-factor authentication. But for this person, she said Facebook, but these are the two lines that you can, or two lines, two URLs uh, that on desktop, you can click on this and you can try to report your account being hacked. It's really sadly the only line of communication unless you're paying for like a paid Meta account, like the Meta check mark. If you have the paid Meta check mark, you do get a direct line of communication with Instagram and Facebook. That's why some people have it kind of like insurance. All right. So sadly, this is your only method. The best way to protect your account is to make sure it doesn't get hacked in the first place. I know it's not what you want to hear, but I know for me, getting hacked is never on my vision board, ever, 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 right? All right. Okay. So I think we did good. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but we covered so much. I'm going to get back on camera. We did it. We did it. Oh, I'm going to answer this question because it just popped up. Hi, Pilar. What do I think of edits? Heidi, do you use it? I do. So this is a great question because we had so many questions on Instagram. So Instagram has a new editing app called Edits. It's completely free to use. And of course, they're trying to compete with TikTok and CapCut, which is owned by TikTok, right? And I mean, I've been using it. I love it. One of the reasons I hopped on board in the first place is because Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, told us that actually right now, if you use edits, you do get a little bit of preferential treatment in the feed. Hello, I'm going to be using edits. So, and what's really great about it is it's exactly the same editor as the Reels editor, but it has some more snazzy features. So it's not like you have to learn a new editing screen. It's very similar. You can tap into all the trending audios right on Instagram on the Edits app. And if you use Reels a lot, or even TikTok, you know that there's glitches, right? There's glitches. And sometimes I'm finding if there's a glitch on Instagram that doesn't let me do something, I can go over to edits and kind of bypass it and create the post over there. All right. Okay, that's a great question. So if you have questions, we have about, I don't know, 10 minutes. I'm going to try to answer as many as possible. Questions about something we covered, you want me to dive in deeper, let me know, okay? And start to try to put them in now because I may not see them if you put them up top, okay? Um, Let's see. So what about edits? And be as specific as possible, okay? Dodie Brown, thank you for joining me. My accounts are in my nickname and my actor name, not my legal name. Yes. How can I get verified without my legal name? Do you know how annoying this is? It's why I'm not verified because I'm married and I do business under my maiden name, Heidi Dean, not Heidi Hernandez, which is my married name. Even though Heidi Hernandez is kind of way cooler. So any kind of, until they allow us to submit a DBA as a business, you're doing business under a different name, you will keep getting rejected. So I'm actively writing them about this because it seems like a very silly thing that isn't fixed because it also affects women more, you know. So right now it is a bit of a problem, and I wish there was a workaround. I have had one client submit extra. They did submit a DBA, they submitted a bunch of identification, and they did get verified. So you can try that, especially if you have a doing business as, that might help you. Okay. AK-47, hello. A friend of mine got his likeness photos of his social stolen and used by scammers on dating sites, posing as him to scam women. Well, that's very unfortunate. There's no question, so I'm going to keep going. I wouldn't worry about that though. That could happen to anybody. Okay. You're a public figure. All right. Just be careful what you post, right? Be careful what you post and make sure you're telling your story online very specifically, and you're going to have less people stealing your photos. Okay. I'm only going to answer social media questions, not IMDb questions and all of that. I am not an IMDb expert. Okay. Jessica says, I never edit my Instagram grid. Should I go in and individually archive, delete content that didn't get as much interaction or fan interest so my content is more streamlined? I'm a voiceover artist. You know, if you want to edit based on likes and all that, go for it. But for me, I don't, if you're really concerned about how many likes your post got, just turn off your likes, turn off your views. You can do it right in your settings. A lot of people, I have clients with millions of followers who have turned off their likes. Okay. So if you're really concerned about that, you can still access your insights and see how well you're posted. If you are proud of that post and you like that post, keep it there, right? Is it telling your story as an actor, as a voiceover actress, as a voiceover artist? Don't delete based on metrics, right? Now, very soon we're getting a really cool feature called the drag and drop grid. And right now we can like pin 3 posts to Instagram, but we'll be able to drag and drop things exactly where we want them on our Instagram. I'm so excited. Some people already have it. And then you might consider Jessica, you just bumped up, to put your favorite post up at the top, because that is what we're going to see first. And you'll have a lot of power. It's going to be rolling out very soon for exactly what we're going to see at the top of your grid. All right. Okay. Let's see. I see from Ted, you mentioned doing collaborations on Instagram. Can you go into more depth about that? Yeah. So there's all sorts of different collaborations. The simplest one is the new invite a collaborator. So it can be a feed post, it can be a carousel post, so the 20 photos and videos in one post. It can be an Instagram reel. And really, in the last stage of creating that post, you can go into where it says tag a person. And instead of just tagging a person, you're going to hit invite a collaborator. And what's so cool about this feature is that post is going to show up on your Instagram and the other person's account. So that could be the show that you're on. That could be the network. That could be, we see a lot of Broadway shows, regional theaters using it to do cast announcements. You are potentially tapping into 2 audience spaces here with 1 post. I also see people, if you're an actor and you create content, you may have a separate page for your content, but you may collaborate with your 2 accounts together, tapping into more audiences and also streamlining how often you post. Okay. Because that 1 post goes on 2 feeds, 2 Instagram accounts, and goes into 2 feeds of followers. Pretty cool. And there's so many different types of collaborations, from taking over someone's Instagram account, going live. Going live, actually, you can go live on almost every platform. On Instagram, you can go live with up to 4 people. And what's kind of magical about that is if you go to live with, say, 3 other people in the same project, every single person's followers are going to get a notification that they are live, tapping into 4 audiences. And if you're all on the same show, or maybe you all post about the same thing, now we're tapping into 4 audiences, helping all of you grow like-hearted audiences. So going live strategically can be a great way to grow with intention. Okay. We also have remixes and sequences and all of that are other collaboration tools, which is a little too much for me to dive into in 5 minutes. That's another great thing on my blog. I have a recent blog about how to sequence a post or remix a post on Instagram, which is a great way to collaborate. So another blog, when you're scrolling through, there's a lot of free content there for you. Find that one. And those are 2 forms of collaboration: remix and sequence. Okay. All right. Great. So you have an IMDb course on SAG-AFTRA. You guys are covering everything. Okay. Let's see. Um, okay. Great. You have things pinned, Jessica. Great. So you're 3 pin posts, but you're going to have the ability to move everything else around, which is kind of exciting. Okay. Let's see. Wiley, if we're constantly trying to capture content, what video settings should we have on our iPhones to optimize those clips for later content creation, 4K or 1080 pixel? I mean, if you want to you could do 4K, but I mean, I just do 1080 and I'm fine. It depends, how much memory do you have on your phone, right? I do a lot of content, and it doesn't have to be, depending on what you're shooting. If you're just shooting yourself in the Instagram Reel camera, you're doing behind the scenes stuff. It doesn't have to be a feature film, right? It doesn't have to be movie quality. Okay. Do be mindful of lighting. Do you have some sort of light? It's very dark in this room. I have a light on so you all can hear me. so you could see me. Can you hear me? My brain was working faster than my mouth there. Can we hear you? You might need a microphone, right? Um, Basic phones and the basic settings that we have right in Instagram for frame rate is fine for most type of content. It really just depends if you're doing content that requires that and how much phone storage you have. All right. This might be the last one, just because we're getting very close to 7:30. I do want to make sure that everyone knows where to do a creator account and where to switch. You're going to go to those three lines on your Instagram, and there we go, three lines. And what you're looking for is you're actually looking for switch to a professional account, which is very confusing, right? Because I said business or creator. So you're actually looking for switch to a professional account. And once you get there, Instagram will walk you through a series of questions to help you decide creator or business. And the questions that are going to walk you through are going to lead most of you right to creator. Okay, so you're really looking for the keyword professional account. All right. Sachi, this is probably going to be our last question. We're going to see how fast I can answer it. How can I overcome my fear to share my private life on Instagram or any social network? Well, first of all, you're not just sharing personal, private things. The best thing you can do, Sachi, is actually set boundaries. What are you going to share? Yes, acting, but choose one thing besides acting that you're going to peel back the curtain. It could be your dog. It could be that you love animal rescue. It could be faith, family. What is that one other thing you're going to peel the curtain back? This is basic PR too. It could be for interviews and everything, acting, and one other thing. Once you set those boundaries, number one, you know what you're going to post about, but you set very clear boundaries so you know what you're not going to post about. And that's going to help you overcome a lot of fear because you're really not sharing too many private things. You're sharing your bookings, your journey as an actor, and then one other thing that helps us get to know the human. Well, thank you, and I will see you all on social. I'll see you on Instagram. Bye.